Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Sports Talk Philadelphia. And are you ready? Because today, Sports Talk Philadelphia presents to you our 2025 Draft Spectacular show. That's right. Today, we'll be going all through the NFL draft and what the Eagles are going to do. But not just that, we'll be talking about our Phils just as usual. With that being said, let's get right into the action. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I am your host, Braden Knapp, and I'm here joined with a full set of panelists here today. Here on my left, Tyler Farmer. How are we doing?
Ant-Man, Superman, Guitar Man, Lakers in 5.
He's doing great. Over here at Tyler Wade. How are we doing?
Doing great.
Awesome. Over there on the end, Gabe, what's up? How are we doing?
Doing great today, yeah.
Awesome. Let's talk ball. As I said in the intro, we're going to be getting right into the draft. That is right, the NFL draft, all you need to know. Let's get right into it. The draft begins April 24th at 8 p.m. on NFL Network and on ESPN. The Tennessee Titans have the number one pick and are expected to take Miami quarterback Cam Ward. That just seems like it is just going to happen. The Ravens and 49ers are the teams with 11 picks, and that leads the most in the draft. And the Vikings have the least amount with 4 picks in the upcoming draft. So, with being said, let's get right into the draft. Now, as I said earlier, Cam Ward, he's going to be a Tennessee Titan. He's going to be the first player taken. He's already dropped so many hints about it. We probably don't even really need to talk about it. However, with the rest of the picks, there's some controversy there. I mean, even with the second pick with the Browns, I mean, it's even who knows what they're going to do. Going to you, Tyler. What do you think, at least this opening section of the draft, is going to be like?
I will say this is one of the first drafts I've kind of seen where outside of the first pick, I don't really know what a team's going to do. I mean, you know, over the last couple of years, you kind of knew, like, okay, this team is going to take a quarterback at 2 or 3, or this team's going to just take the best player available. But it's just kind of like one of those situations where with the Browns especially, I don't know what they're going to do. I do think the Giants are going to go best player available at 3. They did bring in Russell Wilson. They did bring in Jameis. It doesn't make sense to me, it doesn't make sense for them to take a quarterback at 3, especially when you'll have either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter sitting there. But for the Browns, it's like, do you take a quarterback? I think we know Deshaun Watson's not the answer at this point in his career. Do you take a quarterback? Do you pair Abdul Carter with Myles Garrett? Like, what do you do if you're the Browns? But that's also why the Browns are the Browns. They don't know what they're doing. They're clueless as usual. But it will be very interesting to see what they choose to do with that number 2 pick.
It's going to be very interesting because it's honestly, the Giants are probably going to pick the player that the Browns aren't going to take, either Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. At least that's what it seems like. Or Shador could even be an option for those 2 teams. It's kind of interesting. Going over to you, Ty, at least, what do you think is going to happen at the beginning of this draft?
Yeah, I would probably say the Browns. My guess would be the Browns go Abdul Carter to go opposite Myles Garrett, and then I could see the Giants taking Travis Hunter to go opposite Malik Neighbors, who they took last year. Having that combo of Neighbors and Hunter, obviously you mentioned they picked up Russell Wilson. That could be a dangerous combo, and that's in the Eagles division. But I think it's really after Cam Ward, just best available. I also think one other thing is like Shedeur Sanders. There's a lot of talk about him, where he's going to go. Will he go high? I think there's a gap. If he doesn't go within the first few picks, he could fall all the way to 21 with Pittsburgh and Mike Tomlin. So that's something to watch as well.
That is really something to watch, and we'll definitely talk about that later. But going over to you, Gabe, I want to pick your brain about just what you think this opening draft is just going to be like. How do you think it's going to go?
Well, I'm not too sure what the Browns are going to do, but like, they can pick Travis Hunter. I don't think it's really going to do them any good because they definitely do need a QB. And I personally don't agree with the Giants picking up Jameis Winston or Russell Wilson. They should have been looking to draft a QB in this draft, either like Jackson Dart or Shador. But, I mean, at best available for either teams, to be honest.
And you said something interesting there with Jackson Dart, because with this draft, not only do you have, obviously, Cam Ward, he's going to the Titans, but you have Shador, and then you have this whole other list of quarterbacks, Jalen Milroe, Quinn Ewers. Like, where are these guys going to go? It's probably what's going to happen is Shador and then probably Jackson Dart and then maybe Milroe up there. But there's been sneaky reports that Milroe could even be the second quarterback off the board, which I do not think that's going to happen. But, I mean, there's things to be said. And then going back earlier to that Shador to Pittsburgh, I mean, that honestly seems like a real great fit, at least to me. How do you feel about the Pittsburgh and Shador link-up, Tyler?
As a Ravens fan, I would love for Shador to go to Pittsburgh because it means the Steelers would not be competing with us again in the division. So I'm okay with that happening. I do believe, though, long term, I do believe that Shador going to Pittsburgh would be a good thing for them, because I do think one thing I do like about Shador is the fact that he hasn't really had it that great in college. He's had a very bad O-line, no run game, and he's going to Colorado, which is a smaller school. It shows that he's had to kind of work through not having everything you need. You go to some of these quarterbacks, go to Ohio State, and they've got 5 first-rounders on their roster. You go to Alabama, and they've got 10 first-round picks. Colorado, outside of him and Shador, there's really nobody on that roster who is NFL caliber. So to see him be able to succeed in that situation, I think, is a good sign for him going forward. And to go to a strong culture like Pittsburgh, I think long-term that would be a great fit for him.
I honestly, I couldn't agree with you more there. I honestly was on the board of Shador, probably not a Pittsburgh Steeler, but the more and more that it's just seeming like that's going to happen. And honestly, it seems like that should happen. You have really good receivers there, DK Metcalf and George Pickens. And honestly, it would be a great thing for Shador. But besides Shador, we're not here to talk about Shador for the whole time. But I want to talk about just some other players. I mean, there's a lot of electric players in the draft. I mean, Genty, also another blue chip guy, is one of them. Going over to you, Tyler, is anyone in particular stick out to you in this draft, or anyone special that sticks out to you?
One guy that sticks out is Walter Nolan from Ole Miss. His talent-wise, obviously, is otherworldly, but he just needs to, kind of fix up the off-the-field stuff. There are some issues there, but if he can fix that up, I mean, there's guys that have, we see it every year, guys that have issues off the field. They can come in and decide if they want to be like a true NFL pro and fix up their act, or they don't. But on the field, Walter Nolan's a beast. Wherever he goes, I think he's going to be a great star in the league.
100%. And that could be the Eagles' pick. That 100% could be the Eagles' pick, whether they stay at 32 or they come up. I don't know, but let's talk about what the Eagles are going to do. The Eagles draft outlook. Let's hear it. The Eagles currently have 8 picks, and their first pick in the first round is at pick 32. Positions of need are defensive line, edge rusher, cornerback, and offensive line. However, there's some notable players, obviously James Pierce Jr. and Darius Alexander, some previous names we've talked about this on the show before. Just quickly going over to you, Gabe, what do you think the Eagles are going to do in this draft?
I mean, I'm predicting that the Eagles will probably trade up to get a higher pick, because I mean, there's a lot of good picks they can get, but I can see them staying at 32 and either taking the tight end. I see a tight end from LSU on a lot of people's draft boards, but I mean, if no one takes James Pierce, because I know he's fallen, I think they should take him instead.
I mean, James Pierce is an absolute monster, and the guy you're talking about, Mason Taylor, I know him. He's a really good tight end. Could definitely be a player that the Eagles look at. But you said a great thing of trading up, because that 100% what at least I think the Eagles are going to do if that's how the draft looked for Howie and the boys in the front office. However, it's a common thing for the Eagles to trade up. I mean, DeJean, Davis, Jalen Carter, even BG back in the day, which I did not know, Smitty. It's not an uncommon thing for the Eagles to trade up during the draft to get a player that they want. And this could very well happen. I mean, maybe a Malachi Starks, a Walter Nolan could be a guy. I mean, let's go to you, Ty. What do you think? What do you think? Let's hear it. You, Tyler. Sorry.
I think if I'm looking at the Eagles and what I think they should do, I'm kind of more leaning they should trade back, because I don't think that the type of players that they're going to want are going to be there at 32. And because the draft is not as top heavy this year, I think teams are going to require too much for the Eagles to want to move up. So in the end, I think the Eagles might sit here and say, let's just stock up on some more picks and trade back in this draft. We know that overall the roster is very good and can compete for a championship. You've paid a lot of players, so what it means to me is that drafting maybe some guys who maybe aren't ready to play, but you can have them sit back and develop for a little bit. You can accumulate draft picks and accumulate players that way, because I just don't think a starting caliber player will be available at 32 for the Eagles.
I agree. Well, the weird thing about this draft is that you have starting at the probably the early teens, then honestly past the 32 mark, there are a whole group of guys that all could be in the first round or could be first rounders. So it's really tough to be like, what are the Eagles going to do? Because I'm saying, should they just stay there? I mean, chances are a player is probably going to fall to them. But interesting thing, what I like is that if a Emeka Egbuka, maybe a Luther Burden, or if there's a third receiver on that board, hear me. I mean, the Eagles just declined the fifth-year option on Jahan Dotson. Sorry, just declined. He's not going to return after the year. That third receiver is up. Gabe, is that something you could maybe think about, a third receiver? How do you feel about that?
I mean, a third receiver, maybe trade up and get McMillan or just anyone in general up there. Maybe I don't know, Isaiah Bond, anyone that's available at receiver, maybe trade up and get them, honestly.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that is all the time we have for the draft. Stay tuned next week. We'll see what the Eagles do. We all know that Howie is going to deliver, and it's going to be a great draft. But let's get into the Phils, who they've been falling behind the Mets a little bit, unfortunately. They won the Marlins series 2-1, which is a great thing. Should have won the series. However, they at least won the series. They're now, unfortunately, down in the Mets series. They lost that series, unfortunately. Francisco Lindor with 3 runs, 5 RBIs in 3 games versus the Phils. Mets are now 5 games up in the NL as they lost today. And the next game is the 3-game series at Wrigley Field in Chicago against the Cubs. That will be a tough series, but let's stay back on the Phils, and just with at least this series with the Mets, it really was not pretty. At least I'm sure all Phils fans were at least hoping for at least a game. I don't know really what happened here. Going over to you, Tyler. I mean, how is this? At least, how is this to you? This Mets series?
Yeah, it was just disappointing to see this kind of performance against the Mets. I kind of talked about it last week, how I wanted to see some fire from the Phillies. This is a team that knocked you out in the playoffs last year, and going into this year was going to be the team that we felt in the division in terms of making a championship run was one of those teams that's going to be standing in your way. And you have to get through them if you want to achieve the goals you want to achieve. And it's kind of it's weird. We saw the Phillies against the Dodgers, one of those teams that we kind of put in that category too. They played really well. But then now against the Mets, who are within your own division, you didn't even win a game. So you're going to have multiple series against the Mets to prove yourself. It's still very early in the season, but it was just a disappointing series overall for the Phils.
You said it perfectly. It is early in the season, but it's come on. It's you at least should have showed more. And they were up in the last game, and then they blew it. But there's more to talk about that later. I know Tyler over here is really excited to talk about this Phils and Mets series. I know there's some words that he probably wants to say, but let's hear it.
This team, I mean, there's so much we could talk about. The hitting right now is not there. They're not giving the pitchers enough run support. Bullpen can't, if they do happen to get a lead, the bullpen can't hold a lead. Jordan Romano should be down in the minor leagues, at the very least, probably released. And the starting pitching hasn't been phenomenal. Nola just continues to give up home runs every single game, multiple home runs. I mean, their road record right now is not great. So obviously, early in the season, and there's ups and downs throughout the season. They do need to pick it up to kind of show the fan base that they have that fire in them. They want to win that division in back-to-back years, want to get back to the playoffs because their window is closing. They have a lot of aging veterans, and depending on what happens this year, the roster could look drastically different next year. We obviously do have Ranger Suarez coming back very soon, so hopefully that provides a little bit of a jolt, but I'm going to keep watching and hoping, that the bats pick up and the pitching picks up as well.
I really hope with Suarez coming back, as you just said, we're praying that he at least does something for this bullpen. Because you said the pitching for this team has been terrible. I mean, they've been acting like the Rockies. They've been that bad. I mean, Aaron Nola, like, I honestly don't know how he's been this bad. I mean, he's just been giving up runs. You said it, Jordan Romano, probably one of the worst signings of all time. He's terrible. We don't like Romano. He should go down, but you can't put him down because you have no one else. That's the issue with this Phillies team. Is at least one of their issues is their bullpen. It's like you can't like punish any of these pitchers for pitching terribly because you have no one else to replace them. I mean, there's even a thought. There's even one thought. I'll give credit to one of the other panelists who's not here today, but Chris. He said maybe why don't we just bring up Painter at least for the bullpen? It's something. How do you feel about even bringing Painter up to at least help out for this bullpen? Because it's a little early to make a trade. So is it? I mean, I don't even know at this point. But how do you feel?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to see Painter come up whenever he does. Obviously, I think with Ranger coming back, you probably will move somebody, likely Walker, back to the bullpen, which will give a little bit of depth. There'll be a long arm in the bullpen. But I'm all for bringing up guys that can help, not just in pitching, but we have a couple of guys, hitters that can come in and maybe produce. I mean, Rojas has looked pretty decent recently. Marsh has not looked great at all. Hopefully Kepler picks it up. But, I mean, if Painter can come up and provide a jolt just like Suarez coming back from the IL, I mean, I'm all for it.
We're praying almost. It's like he almost kind of has to at least get this team back going. As we know, it's baseball. There's a lot of games, and there's a lot of baseball that's still played. The Mets can still go on, even though they're in first place right now, and have a good lead over the Phils. They're going to hit a slump. There's probably going to be an injury. Someone's probably going to get caught for being juiced. Let's be real. So, there's still a lot of time. But, however, it's like the Phils, at least for me, at least right now looking at this team is not winning. Is not winning the whole thing. And you have to add more. You have to add to it. But it's so early in the year. It's like, okay, we can't do this now, or can we make trades? Ty, going over to you. Can the Phils make a trade? I mean, that seems a little early, doesn't it?
Seems early, but I think it's something they have to inquire about. The thing that about trading is I'm losing confidence in Dave Dombrowski. He has been here for quite a few years now, hasn't really done major things other than these big signings, like Trey Turner a couple years ago. So obviously a lot happens at the deadline. Who knows what will happen then? But the 2024 Mets last year, they started to make a run, I think, in early June. That's kind of when they turned their season around. So, I mean, the more we get into the season, the more we can kind of see where this team is at. Maybe some guys, turn it around, and then we can kind of figure out where we need to fill in the gaps. But, I mean, either we trade or we bring guys up, one or the other.
That's just what it comes down to at the end of the day. They have to do something. Ron Thompson has to do something. But let's at least look at now the upcoming series against the Cubs, which will be a tough one. I mean, it's never easy to go to Wrigley and play in Chicago. And the Cubs right now are first place. Yeah, they're 15-10. Right now, they're first place in the NL Central. They are looking like a great team, or at least not great, at least a good team right now in baseball. Going to you, Tyler. How are you looking at this series against the Cubs?
Well, it's going to be another tough series for the Phillies, in which you're kind of in a slump and you have to get your act together. And it's never fun when you have to get your act together against a good team that already has their act together. In the Cubs, it's reported Taijuan Walker, our boy, might be back. So that would not be good if that ends up being the case. I think the Phillies definitely can get back on track against the Cubs. I think that, they definitely can win, I hope, at least one of these games. but it's like one of those things. It's a tough draw to have when the Phillies are struggling the way they are right now.
It's a really tough draw. I mean, and unfortunately, as you said, guess who's starting that first game pitching? Taijuan Walker. I mean, we have a joke here. I mean, the Phillies have a joke of when he's playing and starting, that's a loss. And so far, besides one game, he's pretty much proved that. I mean, I want to be on the positive side here. I mean, Walker has not been. I mean, he's been pretty bad. But like, and the other pitchers, Romano and Kirk Green, have also been terrible. I don't know if he's been as bad as them. But I'm at least hoping he can maybe do something. You know what? Maybe he can prove us all wrong and let's maybe get the first game against the Cubs. I mean, how huge would that be if we go in there, Tyler, and we go in and we at least get the first game? That first game against the Cubs and we win, how important would that be if we win game one?
That would be huge. If they go in there, win that first game, get some mojo back, break this losing streak, I think that would be huge for clubhouse momentum and morale. If they can take two, that's all you got to do is you got to take two. They take two from the Cubs, back on track a little bit, and just got to keep rolling. You got to continue to win series. You don't need to go on a 10, 12-game winning streak. You just need to continue to win series 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4, whatever it is. And then, the record will show, the team morale will be up, and you can make a push for the playoffs. Obviously, it's a long season, and there's going to be ups and downs, but you got to continue to win series.
100%. They have to win series. And that is all the time we have for the Phils today. Let's hope as we return next week that they get some wins under their belt. Now, let's get into our favorite Fast Five, starting with Tyler Farmer's. We should have, what should the Ravens draft plan be? Let's hear it.
Yeah, well, when it comes to the Ravens, I really like the roster that they have already. I mean, they have a roster that I definitely think is capable of winning 12 games and choking in the playoffs as they usually do. But I think in the Ravens scenario, you kind of go best player available. One player I do really like is Starks, the safety from Georgia. If he is there, I think it's not a great chance he's there, but I do think that if he's there, the Ravens should take him. Kyle Hamilton, when he had his all-pro season, the Ravens had 2 capable safeties on the back end. He could kind of play that positionless position on the field. He could be wherever he wanted. Last year, Hamilton had to stabilize the back end, so he couldn't really be in that positionless. He really wasn't positioned last year. He still was really good, but he wasn't at his best. You bring in Malachi Starks, Kyle Hamilton can go back to playing that position he was playing at an all-pro level.
You know what? I would hate that if the Ravens get Starks, because Starks is an insane player. I want him for the Birds. But if he goes to the Ravens, I mean, that'd be amazing for your team. But sticking with Tyler, we have thought on the NBA playoffs so far. Let's hear it.
Yeah, it's been a whole lot of action going on so far in the NBA playoffs. Just watching how these series have shaped out. One thing I'm very surprised is to see a lot of the competitiveness in some of these series, especially in the East, which some of these series I didn't think were going to be that competitive, but kind of seeing how they're kind of leveled out once again kind of reminded me like, yo, this is playoff basketball. There's a reason why these teams are here. I guess the one series that has kind of surprised me a little bit is the Thunder and the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies have been handled in these last 2 games, and they even lost the first game, I think, by like 51 points. I mean, so that kind of surprised me. I did think the Thunder were going to win, but just to see the Grizzlies get beat down like that is definitely a surprise. I'm very intrigued right now with the Knicks and Pistons series. That seems to be a dogfight that's going to go to 7 games. Same thing with the Clippers and the Nuggets, which have also finished 2 close games. The Clippers did steal the last game on the road. But as I always say, Ant-Man, Superman, Batman, Lakers in 5.
Lakers in 5. You got to love it. Returning here with me is the Union season continues. And I actually have to apologize a little bit. Last week, I might have said how bad the Union were doing a little bit. And I was a little nervous for the upcoming Atlanta game. But they ended up winning 3-0. So got to put myself in my place a little bit, but whatever. I mean, Quinn Sullivan has been playing amazing. He got a goal and an assist in the game. He's taken over that attacking midfield role for Gazdag, which we kind of had to when Gazdag left. But honestly, it's looking like that transfer is working. I mean, Gazdag missed a sitter for Columbus the other day, which that was kind of fun to watch. I love Gazdag, but it's like, So, but next game is against DC United, home. That'll be tough. Christian Benteke, obviously a striker for DC United, ex-Premier League striker, very good player. We're going to have to watch him. He's clinical in the box. He can score anywhere in the box. We're going to have to watch him, but that Union can handle him. Now, going over to Tyler Waiter, we have Phillies good enough to win the NL East? Oh, let's hear it.
No. No, they're not. The Phillies are not good enough to win the NL East as currently constructed at this moment in time. I continue to say it's an up-and-down season. It's a long season, 162 games. But right now, the Mets are on a bit of a roll. You know, it is still early. We're not even in May yet. You know, June Schwarber hasn't gotten hot yet. There's a lot of things that can go either right or wrong. I think there needs to be reconstruction to this roster for them to be a competitive team and you know, push for the playoffs. I think, you know, there needs to be drastic changes. Romano needs to be sent down. Hopefully this team can pick it up in both the bullpen and the hitting, and that's the bottom line because I said so.
I mean, I wish the Phillies fans could say that's not true, but everything Tyler said is 100% true. Now, going over to Gabe, we're here. Our last one is bold NFL draft predictions with Gabe. Let's hear it.
All right, so I have Jackson Dart moving up on everyone's board, knocking down Shedeur Sanders by a lot because we know the greatest QB in this whole entire draft right now is Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss. He's just pinpoint accuracy. That's why his last name is Dart, to be honest. Shedeur Sanders really isn't that good, to be honest, because he has nothing to prove for. He's played in the trash conference. The Big 12 isn't good. And, I mean, and Jalen Milroe is definitely getting picked before Shedeur Sanders, only because of his athleticism, because the athleticism carries him a lot that other QBs don't have. I mean, I can see Jalen Milroe being in Jalen Hurts' position in a few years or Lamar Jackson, maybe. Lamar Goat Jackson, to be honest. But other than that, my other prediction is Eagles trading up to get a pick from like 5 to 20, maybe getting Will Johnson, because that's also a really good corner.
You know, Gabe, I really like that part of it. That you know what, that is interesting though. The Milroe, I'm not sure about, but the Dart is interesting. That is going to be a 100% player to watch in this draft. But unfortunately, that is all the time we have on today's episode of Sports Talk Philadelphia. If you would please check out our socials at Sports Talk LTV on X and Instagram. Please stay tuned next week. We're going to know what the Eagles decide to do. But not only that, the Phillies are going to get back in the win column, all that and much more. We'll see you then. Thank you.